he's maybe not being as attentive as he used to be. Maybe he hasn't told you that he loves you the way he used to all the time, or he's not been telling you as much. Maybe he's been relatively preoccupied nowadays doing his own thing. He's not been hanging out with you as much. So maybe some of these things are happening and you're beginning to think that your boyfriend is falling out of love with you. See, a lot of times people misconstrue this kind of behavior with their significant other falling out of love with you. A lot of times when that happens, it happens naturally based upon the length of time you've been together. So for example, for some people it happens earlier than others. But as you go on in your relationship, maybe it's been, again, for some people it's earlier than later, but maybe you've been together for 6 months, maybe you've been together for a year, maybe more. He gets settled into the relationship. He's not having to court you anymore because he already has you. So now all of a sudden, the affection is not as strong. Hanging out with you doesn't matter as much because you're already there. He already knows you're there. No problem. He'll just go do his own thing. Telling you I love you, well, he figures you already know he loves you, so he doesn't need to keep telling you. So a lot of times, once someone has been with their partner over the course of, again, like I said, it depends on some relationships. Sometimes it's earlier than later, but at least together for about 6 months to a year, if not more, they get into that mode where, they sort of get into a mode of this is what it is. They take the relationship for granted. So they unconsciously stop doing the stuff that they were doing before with you, you know, or do it less because they just get used to having you around. It doesn't mean that they've fallen out of love with you. They do love you, but they're just getting used to being in that relationship. So they feel like all the stuff they used to do before, they don't have to do that much of it anymore. And sometimes this happens unconsciously. They're not even aware of it. And I think about it, it's part of the human condition, it's part of human nature. Once you start getting used to something, you don't appreciate it as much. Okay? So that's probably what's happening in your situation. So you don't want to read too much into it and start feeling hurt by it, because what happens is when you start reading too much into it, then your attitude is going to change. And before you know it, you're going to basically start pinpointing every little thing he does and going, you see, that shows you don't love me. You see, that shows you're falling out of love with me. And you're going to make yourself miserable. You're ultimately going to make him miserable, and you're going to ruin the relationship. What you need to do if you have a problem with what's going on is address it with him and let him know that you want him to give you more affection. That's important to you. He may not even know that. He may think that you've gotten used to the relationship too and you could care less. Just talk to him about it. You let him know, hey, you know what? It does matter to me if you don't tell me that you love me as much as you used to. It does matter to me if we don't hang out as much as we used to. It does matter to me if you don't show me as much affection as you used to. Just be honest with him. And you do something like that, and he may go, oh my God, I didn't know that. And boom, problem solved.